Hello my dears, today in a new video about the 10 strangest buildings in the world. The world owes some of its strangest structures to the unique minds of unconventional architects who build innovative and amazing designs. Here we learn about the most unusual buildings in the world, which have amazing designs, but before we begin, do not forget to subscribe to the channel and activate the notification bell so that you do not miss unique and interesting information about everything related to architecture.
10. National Center for the Performing Arts, China.
The National Grand Theater is a building located in the Chinese capital, Beijing, on an area of 200,000 square meters, containing an opera hall with 2,416 seats, a concert hall with 2,017 seats, and a theater hall with 1,040 seats. Locally, the building is called the Peking Opera and the Egg. The building is located in the heart of Beijing's historic district, west of Tiananmen Square. Its construction was supervised by French engineer Paul Andrew. The building consists of a huge dome made of titanium and glass in an elliptical shape that suggests to the viewer that it is a yin and yang sign, and is surrounded by an artificial lake. Construction of the building began in December 2001 and was officially opened in December 2007.
9. Cubic Houses, Rotterdam, Netherlands.
In Rotterdam, Cube Houses, one of the most important tourist places in Rotterdam, one of the most important tourist cities in the Netherlands. It is located in a central location, next to the train station. Announcing the idea of building houses with a cube design in 1970 AD. These homes were constructed in 1984. These homes were built by designer Pete Bloom. It is a distinctive and innovative housing construction project whose goal is solving the overpopulation crisis. These houses were built in the form of cubes with 6 faces at an angle of 45 degrees, which made them a miracle in architectural art. This idea was the result of the presence of different trees in the place, so the designer tried to leave the trees and not remove them and create an innovative design that allows the presence of trees between the houses. To create a village of cubes that includes a small forest and a wonderful scene. These buildings have very unique shapes. They are one of the most famous tourist destinations in the city. Despite their external appearance, they are suitable for living on the inside. The number of these houses is estimated at about 38 small houses.
8. Biosphere Environmental Museum, Montreal.
The Biosphere is a museum dedicated to the environment, and was built to house the Pavilion American at the World's Fair in 1967 AD and is now used to create awareness of climate change environmental. The museum contains many displays aimed at enhancing the importance of the resources aquatic and environmental. The museum also offers interactive exhibitions and guided activities and is considered one of the most important educational attractions suitable for the whole family. The museum is distinguished by its wonderful design. It is unique in its kind, which makes it one of the most important tourist attractions in the city. The museum building is considered the first building in the world with a geodesic dome, which was designed by the American architect Richard Buckminster Fuller in 1967. Fuller noticed that the prevailing structural materials may withstand pressure, and are characterized by heaviness and large size, but few of them withstand tension, so he focused on materials that it can withstand tension and is light in weight with small sections so that it can withstand twisting and bending forces when exposed to compressive forces. This construction is considered the nucleus upon which new works of spatial installations emerged. The Hulk made a cameo appearance in the original Battlestar Galactica television series, specifically in the episode Greetings from Earth. Scenes from the science fiction film, Quintet, by director Robert Altman were also filmed at this location.
7. Forest Spiral, Germany.
And also called Ungol Spiral by Unterwasser. The walled spiral was built between 1998 and 2000. The revolutionary, colorful and irregular architecture of the famous Friedensreich Unterwasser appears here in all its splendor. One gets the impression that the fairy tale castle drawn by a group of happy children has become a reality. It was planned and implemented by the architect Heinz_M_Springman, and the real estate developer is Boverain AG. No two windows are alike in this 105-apartment building, which is dominated by golden onion domes. The natural features of the landscape are represented. For example, the layers of soil beneath the building are reflected in the color design of the facade. The roof of the 12-story building, built with recycled concrete, is planted with basswood, beech and maple trees. A playground and artificial river are part of the indoor park. In the courtyard there is a children's playground and a small artificial lake. One special feature of the U-shaped building is the striking facade, which does not follow any design grid, with offline. And Undertwasser died in February 2000, a few months before construction was completed.
6. Habitat 67, Montreal, Canada.
A residential complex located in the city of Montreal, characterized by its very strange and unique design, and based on its name, we know that the complex includes 67 homes. Habitat 67, designed by Israeli-Canadian architect Moshe Safdie as the Canadian Pavilion for the 1967 World's Fair, was originally intended as an experimental solution for high-quality housing in dense urban environments. Safdie explored the possibilities of prefabricated modular units to reduce housing costs and allow for a new typology of housing that could incorporate the qualities of a suburban home into an urban high-rise. In the years following the World's Fair, numerous habitats were built around the world. In New York, 1967, Puerto Rico, 1968, Israel, 1969, Rochester, 1971, and Tehran, 1976. Although most of the World's Fair pavilions were dismantled upon completion of the expo, Habitat 67 retained its original purpose, and today continues to operate as a successful residential complex. Like other icons of great fairs and markets, such as the Crystal Palace and the Eiffel Tower, Habitat 67 has thrived despite its intended shelf life and remains a symbol of its era. Not only was Habitat 67 revolutionary for its time, it has continued to influence architecture throughout the decades.
5. La Pedrera, Spain.
Casa Mila, also known as La Pedrera, is a modern building located on Paseo de Gracia in Barcelona, at the corner of Provence Avenue. It was the last civil work designed by Antoni Gaudí and was built between 1906 and 1912. It was commissioned by the businessman Pere Mila I Camps and his wife Roser Sigamon I Artiles, a native of Royce and the widow of the wealthy Indian Josep Guardiola I Grau. At the time it was controversial because of the bold, undulating forms of the stone facade and the twisted wrought iron decorating the balconies and windows, largely designed by Josep Maria Gogol, who also designed some of the plaster ceilings. Architecturally, it is an innovative work as it has a structure of columns and floors devoid of load-bearing walls. In the same way, the facade, made entirely of stone, is self-supporting. In other words, it should not bear loads from plants. Another innovative element was the construction of an underground garage. Casa Mila is a reflection of Gaudí's artistic fullness. It belongs to his naturalistic phase, 1910s, the period in which the architect perfected his personal style. Inspired by the organic forms of nature, for which he put into practice a whole series of new structural solutions that arose in Gaudí's in-depth analyses of organized geometry. To this, the Catalan artist adds great creative freedom and ingenious decorative creation. In 1870, Gaudí moved to Barcelona to study architecture. He was an inconsistent student who showed flashes of brilliance. It took 8 years for him to graduate due to a combination of health complications, military service, and other activities. After completing his education, he became a prolific architect as well as designing gardens, sculptures and all other decorative arts. Gada's most famous works consisted of several buildings.
4. Niterói Contemporary Art Museum, Brazil.
The Niterói Museum of Contemporary Art is located in the city of Niterói, Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, and is one of the city's main landmarks. It was completed in 1996. Built on the tip of the Mirador da Boa Viagem, with its futuristic facade, this museum allows the visitor to enjoy panoramic views either outside the museum, from the courtyard, or inside the museum to look through a ring of windows that divides this giant, concrete slab, into two paths. Designed by engineer Oscar Niemeyer with the assistance of structural engineer Conto Contarini, who has worked with Niemeyer on previous projects, Magnitrui is 16 meters high. It is 50 meters in diameter with 3 floors. The museum itself is presented on the beach of Bon Voyage, Good Journey, as well as an 817 square meter, 8,790 square foot, reflecting pool surrounding the cylindrical base. Like a flower, Niemeyer said. The Museum of Modern Art in Brazil appears in the shape of a flying saucer, or what is known as a UFO. It is 16 meters high and is carried on a cylindrical column carrying the upper dish, which has a diameter of 50 meters. Surrounding that column is a large swimming pool with an area of 817 square meters and a depth of 60 meters, which gives the museum has an elegant and light appearance, and from afar it seems as if it is suspended in the air due to the shortness of the cylindrical column that holds the plate. The plate, or museum building, consists of 3 floors. The first floor takes you to the high, red corridor that is characterized by its curved lines. This corridor leads directly to the exhibition hall, which can accommodate 60 people. Its walls are made of glass, allowing visitors to see the bay that it overlooks. On the first floor there is also a restaurant and a storeroom for artwork, and next to it are 2 water tanks to supply the museum with water. The second floor consists of a reception room, and another room equipped with all the various arts tools, in addition to the employees' offices. While the third floor contains 5 art galleries, each of which is dedicated to a specific type of exhibit. Work on building the Museum of Contemporary Art began in 1991 and was completed in 1996. It cost $6 million, and it quickly became one of Brazil's main and famous landmarks. It includes more than 1,000 pieces of contemporary Brazilian artistic production over the past 4 decades. Contemporary art, the subject of this museum, differs from modern art in that the latter is characterized by preserving the traditions of ancient art, and modernization is limited to media and tools, producing an artistic work like the old, but with new and modern tools. Unlike contemporary art, whose contemporaneity and modernity transcend artistic media, means, and traditions, it includes spatial sculpture and other things, and this Brazilian museum that we have today collects these works in a contemporary external form as well.
3. Dancing House, Czech Republic.
The Dancing House, or Fred and Ginger, is the nickname of the Nationale Nederlanden building in Prague, Czech Republic. It was designed by Croatian-Czech architect Vlado Milonic in collaboration with the famous Canadian-American architect Frank Gehry on a vacant riverside plot of land. The building was designed in 1992 and completed in 1996. The site is concentrated in a densely built-up part of Prague, the bank of the Racine River. Almost all of the structures in the area are Baroque or Art Nouveau, which makes the house's design stand out. The once controversial controversy has subsided and the building is now seen as a work of art that adds value to Prague's cityscape. The unconventional design was controversial at the time because the house stood out among the Baroque, Gothic, and Art Nouveau buildings for which Prague was famous. Then Czech President Václav Havel, who had lived for decades next to the site, eagerly supported the project, hoping that the building would become a center of cultural activity. Jerry originally named the house Fred and Ginger, after dancers Fred Astaire and Ginger Rogers, because the house looked like a pair of dancers.
2. Stonehouse, Portugal.
Constructed between 4 giant stones and joined by a concrete mix, the house is rumored to be inspired by the famous American Flintstones cartoon. Although quite unusual, the prehistoric property features some traditional components such as windows, the front door and even a wood-paneled roof. As you might expect, the house's design attracts thousands of tourists every year. The Stone House or House of the Rock is an architectural monument located between Celorico de Basto and Faf, in northern Portugal. It also got its name because it was built from 4 large boulders used as the foundation, walls and roof of the house. The Stone House, a Casa do Penedo or House of Stone, was built in the Faf Mountains in northern Portugal, between 4 large boulders that were found at the site. Although the house may look rustic, it does not lack amenities, which include a fireplace and a swimming pool carved from a large rock. The Stone House, Casa do Penedo Portugallo, is a special type of prehistoric house located between Celorico de Pasto and Fave in northern Portugal. The house, also known as the Stone Castle, is built between 4 giant stones originally found in the area. The castle was built in 1972 and is perfectly integrated into the landscape. The stone house was built by architect Guimarães, and the castle was intended to be a rural holiday retreat for a local family. The structure soon attracted the attention of many curious travelers, forcing the owners to move elsewhere, and today the stone house is a small museum filled with memorabilia and photographs of the history of the building and the beautiful surrounding landscape.
1. The Crooked House, Poland.
We've seen many wonderful, innovative and surprisingly complex houses so far, but the Crooked House in Sopot, Poland is something completely different. This building looks completely unreal, like a picture from a children's book, and tourists from Poland and abroad come here every day to take their photos next to this architectural marvel. Internationally, it is famous for the Crooked House, which its designer built, influenced by cartoons in a children's fantasy novel by Polish architects Zaleski, Szotowski. The house was built in 2004, as part of a large shopping area in the city called Resident, based on Polish children's drawings by artists January Marcin Sancer and Berdalberg. Due to the house's reputation as one of the crooked houses in the world, business owners and celebrities flock to it, as it includes residential rooms for rent and administrative offices for businesses, as well as restaurants, shopping centers, health and beauty centers, and even radio stations. The 4-story house was built on 4,000 square meters of twisted walls and concave surfaces, painted in blue and green enamel and reflective glass, with a somewhat intimidating entrance resembling an open mouth that tourists hesitate to enter. The house looks amazing enough during the day, but during the night when it is lit up, its appearance is unique and interesting. Although the building was built recently, it is one of the most famous buildings on the planet and represents a very important local symbol. Similar to the American Walk of Fame, the house includes the Wall of Fame, as a tradition created by those in charge of the house, to add the names of participants in the cultural events that take place inside the Crooked House, which has gained international fame that has made it head the list of the strangest buildings in the world. Here we reach the end of the video. We hope you enjoyed it, and if you liked the video, do not hesitate to press the like button and activate the notification bell to receive all our news. Hello.